Welcome back. Teaching and learning continues to be disrupted at two major universities, University of Cape Town and University of the Western Cape. In the Western Cape, as students protest over issues related to registration and access to accommodation. Student leaders at UCT want those with historical debt to be able to register and accommodation made available to students that have been accepted. SABC News reporter Atule Joka and video journalist Atule Joka are covering the story. Let's cross to them live now. Very good morning to you. Atule, there are reports that students held a night vigil last night. Will there be further protests today, and what's the situation like there?
Yeah, indeed, a very warm welcome to you, Naledi. It is day 5 since teaching and learning has been affected here at UCT. We're just standing at the entrance, as you can see, that some of the students who are protesting about these issues relating to registration and also a housing crisis that is engulfing this university have been here since Monday. We were here on Monday. It was barricaded with beans, and some students were not allowed to come inside pertaining this protest, which is ongoing. About that night vigil you were asking me about, yes, it did happen last night. We saw some visuals. Students were praying there, holding candles, praying about the student debts. They wanted to be removed, and also for students to get a housing accommodation. The issues here, Naledi, are these two issues: the fee blocks, which are preventing students that want to register because of those historical debts. They are unable to register. As a result, academic activities have been affected since Monday. Students calling on the university to try and resolve some of those issues before they can resume with their academic studies. We understand that this school has about 27,000 students that they need to enroll in a year, and about 30%, as per the SRC, is still not registered. But I will bring in Thengiwe Dube. You'll just excuse me, I can't pronounce your whole name, the president of the SRC. Just talk to us about the issues that you are complaining about. We understand that it's the fee blocks and also the housing crisis. Please elaborate to us.
Thank you so much. I'm gathered here with also another student leader of ours. So currently what we're facing is, like I said, the fee blocks, and there is a direct line between fee blocks and their residences. So now that individuals face financial exclusion due to lack of funding or the NSFAS cap, their residence offers have been withdrawn. So now students find themselves without housing. They find themselves having to squat at the SRC office or different buildings across campus for a warm space. I mean, you are here with us. It is a bit cold, and that's what we've been doing. We've been standing in solidarity with these students and hoping that the university will actually engage with us.
Also, when you're talking about these fee blocks, how much are the students expected to pay, and also in your engagement with the management, what are they saying?
So student school fees can go up to 100,000 alone, right? And we appreciate the university's attempt to raise the threshold from 1,000 to 10,000, but that 10,000 is not going to make a difference to an individual that has a debt of over 150,000. So the school fees are exorbitant. There's even an tuition fee increase, which was 5.9, and it just increases, just disadvantaging Black and POC students.
I saw their statement from the management saying they've set aside 5 million rands to try and help with this fee blocks, to try and reduce it, to help the students with the funding. Your understanding of that?
So they have not raised the 5 million. Instead, they have called us to raise 5 million, and then they will match it. So it's a very unfortunate challenge to the SRC, whose duty is to support students, not to raise funds for them, which is the institution's responsibility, as well as the government, who has promised funding to these students. So it's almost an attempt to challenge us and to see if can we actually do it, to now create doubt amongst our students. So unfortunately, we reject that opportunity or attempt to challenge us, because what we have been trying for the past 4 weeks is raise those funds. We have something called the SRC Assistance Fund, as well as the SRC AFRI Fund, which helps both international and local students. And now, consequently to that threshold, now they're saying that international students are not even included in that threshold. So we don't understand why the institution is trying to create doubt among student leaders and the efforts that have been put in for the past 4 weeks, but we do not accept it, and we're asking that the university make a plan like they said they would.
It's day 5 now and you've been engaging with them. It looks like also the management is resolute. One of their justifications is the fact that they have about over 400 million of historic debt that they are dealing with. They are also starting this year at a deficit. Also, how do you engage with them around those issues when you are sitting on a table?
So this deficit was communicated last year, and these types of engagements between student leaders, SRC and management, we have been asking what measures or what relief systems can be applied, because we knew that this was going to outbreak, we knew that this was going to come, and the fact that management has still not made a plan and instead are trying to challenge the SRC to raise funds that they should have beginning of even last year is quite concerning. So in regards to, please repeat your question.
The 400
the deficit. The institution has access to external bodies. The institution has access to sponsors. The institution has access to their own accounts where they're able to assist in the shortfall that has been occurring. We highly appreciate the minor and the interim solutions that they've provided, but we're asking for sustainable and permanent solutions to these issues. So if we're calling on them to call their sponsors, to call their friends who are millionaires and billionaires across the world. So we're also calling on them to ask their friends and funders for support to help students clear their debts.
And also you had a meeting with them. After the meeting, they released a statement that academic activities face-to-face are back. They are supposed to resume today. What is the current situation? And I also see some students are passing, some are being turned back. What is the current situation?
So unfortunately, yesterday there was a meeting and they had released a statement with a misguided perspective and information. There was no agreement that academic year should continue, because how could the SRC among student leaders allow the institution to continue their academic year when over 30% of students are still not registered? Because if the continuation of academics is occurring, that means more students are disadvantaged. They don't have access to Wi-Fi, they don't have access to devices. Now the workload is going to be added to them. So I don't understand why they would make that assumption and make it seem as the SRC is incompetent by allowing that, when we understand the severity. If the academics continue, it further disadvantages the most marginalized students across campus, which are your Black and POC students.
Also, I want to bring you in because you've been here since Monday, engaging with students who want to enter. We understand there is a notion out there that there are those students who want to study. What do you say to them?
First and foremost, let me thank you for having us here.
Please introduce yourself as well.
I'm Funanani Chisudi from the Commerce Student Council Leadership. Okay, I'm hearing you. Your question was to say, what are we saying about students who want to study? As African students, we need to stand in solidarity with each other, because let me tell you something, fee blocks is an exclusionary policy to exclude the children of the poor and working class. So as Black people, we need to come together, stand in solidarity and fight such exclusionary policies. So what I'm asking from those students is to say, let's help each other, let's lift each other up, let's stand in solidarity with each other.
And also they released a statement, the management, saying there was a distraction of students who want to come in, and if it continues there might be some action that is taken. I'm not sure what kind of action, but they did mention it to be relating to law. What do you say to that?
On that note, let me tell you something. As students, we've been protesting peacefully, but we've been met by violence from people trying to enter campuses, some of them being lecturers, bumping us with their cars. The university has instructed CPS to no longer protect students. And we want to know, what is the duty of CPS if it's not to protect students? Right now, CPS stands there and leaves these lecturers to come and bump us with their cars. There have been many incidences where we were protesting peacefully. People told us they're going to fetch a gold Glock and come shoot us. And we have never received any form of protection from the institution. So as students, the university should not try and create a facade that students are protesting violently. So as students, we've been protesting in the most peaceful manner, but we've been met with violence.
And also, before I let you go, Hlengiwe, I saw some visuals of students sleeping in offices, some on top of the desk, some on the floors, some just bending over on the desk. What is the situation there? I understand they are under your custodianship as the SRC now.
So right now, they are still unhoused. The university does not have space for these students that they have accepted into this institution. So all these students are academically eligible to continue. They have been promised housing, but upon arrival, they have said that there is no space. So consequently to that, and as effect of not having a space to sleep, sleep. We have been trying to sleep around campuses, as well as individuals have been trying to find ways to squat with them. So unfortunately, I believe among student leaders believe that the institution has become very comfortable in the fact that the SRC and student leaders will find ways to make sure that they're comfortable, and that it proves that they are feigning ignorance to the issue at hand. I'm pretty sure, like you've seen the videos, instead they are trying to cover up those videos. And even last night we had a night vigil outside of Sarah Botman Hall because there were still so many students unhoused and had no place to stay. So we stood in solidarity, as well as individuals that came out of the comfort of their home to sleep with the students there on the stairs, because we're like, we are going to stand together. As well as we had candles with us, and they were not lit for a very symbolic reason, to show that the institution has burnt out our lights. They have burnt out our spirit. They've burnt out our fire. And how does an institution expect us to have that very burning fire to unleash their potential if they are prohibiting and impeding our success in academics?
So if those candles were not lit and you said it, what was the activity going on there? If you can just explain a picture of us of that night vigil. Yeah.
Okay, so we gathered by the Sarah Botman Hall. We sang struggle songs that our grandparents, our parents sang during the time where they were, their right to education was infringed upon, exactly like how it's happening now. So we were mirroring that same occurrence, as well as just we tried to get food for the students, and that came out of individuals' pockets. We tried to raise funds to get food for the students that were there that haven't eaten for the past 2-3 days. And yeah, we just sat together. We had also discourse conversation about the effects that this has had, as well as solutions that possibly the SRC among student leaders can implement. We also had conversation about how do we address the university management, because they've made it sound as if we are just loose, headless chickens running around. So how do we also now put out our story that is accurate, that is correct, without also sanitizing the institution's ability to infringe or rather create a narrative that is untrue. So we just really gathered together, we spoke, and we just ate. We tried to eat.
Okay. So the total number of the students that you're taking care of at the moment?
That number can equate over 300. Fortunately, in yesterday's meeting, the management agreed that we could keep sending names to the student housing and they can find housing, but that has been happening for the past 3 weeks. So there is no confidence. I feel like that meeting was just used as a rubber stamp to make it seem as if they've had engagement with the SRC, but not providing permanent and sustainable solutions. So right now, again, like I said, that number increases almost every day because we have first years, we have returning students without space.
So what is going to happen from now going forward?
So we will continue to stand in solidarity with the students affected, with student leaders and the SRC. We'll continue to voice out our voice, and thank you for coming and asking for our voice to be heard, as well as try again effortlessly to engage with management. A special council meeting has been called for the 21st of February, which is next week Tuesday, and we will address this issue and will not leave that room until the exclusionary policy is not only addressed but is lifted.
So you'll form part of that council meeting?
Yes, I am part of the council meeting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to the president of the SRC and also with an ally and also a student leader here at UCT. This is the current situation. Thank you so much for your time, guys. Students still here on the entrance, just monitoring the situation here. This has been the situation since Monday. Students basically, Naledi, complaining or disgruntled about what they call exclusionary policies that seek to deny those who are vulnerable, who are destitute, who do not afford the adequate fees to be in the institutions of learning, just putting them aside and not being able to register and also get accommodation. And also the issue of funding and registration has ripple effects on the housing access. Those who are not registered, who do not have the funding, do not have residences as yet, as those visuals that we saw that I also sent through to the SABC team. We've seen students sleeping on the floors, some on the desks, some bending over, as they do not have places at the moment. It seems that the students and the management are not able to find amicable solutions solutions as yet, but the students are hopeful that the council meeting, which is set for the 21st of February, which they will form part of, which is the highest decision-making body, will be able to address the issue of fee blocks to allow those students who have historical debts to be able to register so that they can seek funding from inside so that they can continue with their studies. But the university as well, from their side, saying they have over 400 million historical debt that they have accumulated over the years. They are starting this year at a deficit, so it is quite a difficult place for them as well. We will see how those engagements take place, but the statement that came from the university last night was that academic activities in person from learner to teacher in the institution will be taking place here today, but we understand no teaching and learning is taking place yet again. We understand that some programs have been moved online, so some students are able to access online, but a number of them did try to come through but were turned away, but others did pass through. So we will monitor the situation and see what will come out of this. The management also coming very hard on the students, saying those who are disrupting others will face the full might of the law if they continue between today and Monday. So we will be here again to see what is really happening, Naledi.
Atule, you're speaking to Desiree, and just in terms of this 21st February meeting, we're getting reports today that students at the Sol Plaatje University in the Northern Cape are getting to some sort of agreement with management and will be stopping protest. How far is, just in terms of coming to the middle line, how far are the students from management at UCT?
Your line is crackling a bit at Desiree, but if I understand, you are asking how far are the engagement between management. It seems at the moment that they are still far off from finding one another, because the students are adamant that each and every one of the students, the university here has over 27,000 learners in total. So if 30% are still not registered, that means over about 7,000 to 8,000 students are still not registered. They won't have access. So the university says we have 5 million that we have set aside to help those with the fee blocks. We will treat it case by case basis. We'll see how they are doing academically, how long they have been here. But the students say we need to get a significant number of students here. And also we understand there's a policy that says the threshold doesn't apply to international students. They are also fighting on that as well. We'll see what will come out of that council meeting. We will be moving over to the University of Western Cape. The situation there is different. They had a capacity of 4,600 for first-time students, but they said they have reached their quota, but there are students who are still outside because they were waiting for their NSFAS funding, which was still pending because the results from the matric came very late. So when their funding was approved, now they were told that it is full. The university has reached the capacity, so they were protesting on those. They have submitted the memorandum. The management met with them. We understand that, we hear that it's a bit quiet today, but we will move over there to just see for ourselves what is the situation, and also to get from the students themselves as to what is happening, and also from the side of the management to hear what is really happening. But currently at the moment it looks like teaching and learning will not be taking place. Students are still barricading, just seated down outside here, Desiree, just ensuring that they want the university to listen to some of their pleas and some of their grievances that they are putting forward, that those students who are left behind as a result of not having sufficient money shall not be excluded, as they put it.
These are always really sad scenes at the beginning of the year, just a reflection of the exclusionary nature of our society. Atule, thank you so much. He's at the University of Cape Town giving us an update on student protests at the institution.